PEG is forward P divided by the growth rate. Oh, I think I got this wrong. I'm sorry. Forward P for Netflix was 29.33. Okay. This is, I'm going to call this fitted price. The price of Netflix, that would give you the same PEG ratio as, I'm going to enter an arbitrary number. If that was the number, where are you? Fitted price divided by forward EPS divided by the PEG growth rate. So at the current price, PEG ratio for Netflix is much higher, right? So let me actually calculate the PEG by itself first. Fitted PEG is the fitted price. Fitted price divided by forward earnings divided by the growth rate. So I'm going to take the difference of Netflix PEG and Disney PEG. Let me make these purple just like these. So the price of Netflix that would make it have the same PEG ratio is what if analysis goal seek, make the difference between Disney PEG and fitted PEG for Netflix 0 by changing the fitted price. So based on that, and let me make that red. If we were to take this analysis seriously, relative to Disney, proper price for Netflix is $200. So buying Disney and shorting Netflix should make you a lot of money. The trouble with this is the idea behind dividing by PEG ratio assumes that growth is going to be exactly the same ad infinitum. If you think about it, you have a process where earnings are going to grow at 20% until infinity. So if they're $1 now, and 20% growth until end of time. Value of this, assuming no actual discounting, is 1 over the growth rate. Or so doing no actual discounting, basically capitalized value using that growth is 5. That's the PEG ratio, okay? If the forward PE is $1. So a PEG ratio essentially assumes that earnings or the growth rate, the 5-year growth rate, will remain constant until the end of time. Well, we know that's not going to be the case. Just looking at, where is the analysis? For Netflix, for example, they grew about 33% over the last 5 years, and they're expected to grow 16 over the next 5 years. On the other hand, Disney, not financial analysis, they actually contracted over the last 5 years. For some reason, they're expected to grow 20% over the next 5 years. There's a good reason why. There's a reason why it's not surprising. Disney had negative growth over the last 5 years. Could anybody guess? COVID. So what about COVID? Hmm? They didn't get much from Disneyland, and they still had to operate the place anyway. But even without things like COVID, growth rates do differ. And similarly, over the last 5 years, Netflix grew much faster. Why? Because during COVID, people started streaming at home. Okay, now they're not getting that kind of growth. Either way, PEG ratio is an improvement on forward PE, but it also assumes too much. We will do an alternative analysis that you would not see anywhere in financial websites that preserves the concept of payback period, or the payback, that preserves payback period interpretation of PE, but also takes growth into account. We're gonna basically, I'm not gonna do the spreadsheet today. because we need to be careful about a lot of stuff. I don't want to put rush it in 20 minutes. The idea is to get a projection of earnings based on earnings estimates next 12 months, and future growth rates, then calculate the payback periods with the modified earnings projections. To be conservative, we will assume that either after 5 years, firms that are compared have identical growth rates, such as the long-term growth rate of the economy expected. Or we will assume that firms will revert to the long-term growth rate during a number of years after 5 years. If you think about it in terms of real, it is always a good idea to think about real growth rates adjusted for expected inflation, since many economists make estimates of long-term growth rate of the economy in real terms. That means we should convert estimated growth rates for the firms to for the next 5 years to real growth rates using implied inflation rates obtained from